you and the governor were covering up what was happening with the fraud. So I want to specifically who are you referencing when you said fight these people? If you could, just keep it short. Was that your own state?
Congresswoman, these people represented themselves to be business people who were having difficulty with
But your own son also received donations from those same individuals. Imam Omar, the man that you invited you and is listed a partial owner of an entity that was used to launder over $40 million in Feeding Our Future funds. I would say that you did mislead the public, whether or not—
Welcome back to Freedom Forge, the channel where we cut through the noise and bring you the truth about what's happening in our government today. If you love America, if you care about holding our leaders accountable, and you value real investigative journalism, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe right now so you never miss a show. Your support helps us push back against big tech censorship and keeps this channel alive. So don't forget to turn on notifications too. Today, we're covering a shocking Senate hearing that every taxpayer, every parent, and every American needs to see. This is a story that's been swept under the rug for too long. The hearing centers around explosive allegations of massive government fraud. I'm talking about the stunning admission that up to $9 billion in taxpayer money was stolen right under the nose of Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison, both of whom have repeatedly assured the public that they were on top of things.
Thank you, Governor
Chairman,
Walz.
I would ask
my line of questioning is not for you. Please do not interfere with the witness's time. It's for your Attorney General.
He didn't ask a question, so it is Ms. Luna's time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to be very clear about why we are here today and why both of you should be concerned. I've already sent criminal referrals to Attorney General Pam Bondi recommending that both Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison be investigated and prosecuted under 18 U.S. Code 371 and 18 U.S. Code 2. The U.S. Attorney Office estimates up to $9 billion in taxpayer money has been stolen on your watch, Governor Walz. Not a rounding error, not a typo, $9 billion, and both of you knew. Mr. Ellison, there's a widely reported recording of a meeting between you and Feeding Our Future on December 11th, 2021. At that meeting, those individuals that you were speaking to told you that the state investigators looking into fraud were acting in a, quote, racist manner. And your response was, and I'm quoting directly from the recording, "Let's just go fight these people." I want to ask you, what do you mean by fight these people?
Congresswoman, first of all, this matter I've responded in writing to this committee. I've written an op-ed about this matter. I have gone through several committees, one in the state, one in the Fed, one in the Senate, now here today, and it's very clear that these people were clearly liars. They were lying to me. They lied to judges. They lied to the state agencies. They were fraudsters. Everyone agrees that they are fraudsters. And
if I could, just because I'm a limit on time, though, I want to see, and I understand what you were stating. You're saying that you were essentially lied to. But in responding to them, and the reason I'm questioning on this is because I had the privilege of questioning some of your state legislators that were Republicans, and they did feel that both you and the governor were covering up what was happening with the fraud. So I want to specifically who are you referencing when you said fight these people? If you could, just keep it short. Was that your own state?
Congresswoman, these people represented themselves to be business people who were having difficulty with the bureaucracy.
Okay.
They contacted me and they wanted to know what, can you possibly help us? What I did is investigate their claims and then work with the federal authorities to see 57 of them convicted of crimes, and about, I think, more than 80 now indicted. So these people presented themselves as someone needing help and honest business people. They were not what they claimed to be, and we helped them get convicted as they well should be.
Thank you for clarifying, but just to be clear, it would be the bureaucracy, would you say, within your own state? Is that you were saying fight these people as in the bureaucracy within your own state, correct?
Congresswoman, I was in Congress for 12 years.
Thank you for
serving. I did
Congress.
constituent services all the time.
Okay, so I'm not going to get anywhere on this question. That brings me to my next thing. Do you believe that it is racist to investigate someone of fraud because they are of Somalian descent? Yes or no?
Ma'am, I believe that anybody who commits fraud of any background should be investigated and held accountable.
Okay, well, I would actually agree with you on that one, so thank you for clarifying. But to be clear, those individuals that you told the Department of Human Services were basically, it was racist, and if you were looking into it for fraud. You took that meeting, you made that promise, and then it turns out that the billions of dollars in fraud continued. And I hate to bring this up because I am a parent, but your own son also received donations from those same individuals. Imam Omar, the man that you invited you and is listed a partial owner of an entity that was used to launder over $40 million in Feeding Our Future funds. I would say that you did mislead the public. Whether or not you at the time realized what they were up to, the fact is that you were then presented with the evidence, and it does feel, and according to your own state legislators, that you did not take that seriously enough. In my opinion, if you have that—
I would disagree, ma'am.
I'm telling you what my opinion is. I don't believe that that was a question, but I do believe, based on the recording, based on the fact that you were personally tied to it, and based on the fact that your family then had ties to it as well, seems a little sus. Aside from that, though, you're telling the American people essentially that maybe you didn't know about it when dozens of your own employees were afraid as being labeled as racist or Islamophobic if they stayed silent. And so I just want to be clear about something. You've stated and you agree that anyone should be investigated based on, regardless of their background. But the fact is that your own employees came forward and were actually afraid of actually looking into that fraud because they did not want to be labeled as Islamophobic or as maybe xenophobic. So you dismiss this, as President Trump said, as politicizing the issue when $9 billion is not a political talking point. It's an embarrassment. The American people see what's going on, and this is fraud. I would say, and I would also advise the Attorney General to look into our criminal referrals. I do not believe that you guys could say that you didn't know what was happening because, frankly, even if, let's say, giving you the benefit of the doubt, you might not have known, you guys still chose to turn a blind eye to it. Thank you, Chairman. I yield my time.
Gentlelady,
You heard that right. $9 billion. That's not a typo, not a rounding error. That's the American people's hard-earned money, hijacked by fraudsters, and no one in power seems to be held accountable. What we saw in this hearing was a Congresswoman demanding answers for why such gross negligence occurred, why investigations were stonewalled, and even why people brave enough to look into this fraud were silenced and labeled as racist or Islamophobic. It's nothing short of a government cover-up, folks, and it exposes just how broken our leadership has become in Minnesota and, frankly, all across this country. Now, let's break down what happened here. The Congresswoman came ready with facts, not just partisan talking points. Criminal referrals have already gone out. Let me repeat that. Criminal referrals to the Attorney General of Florida and the U.S. Attorney's Office to investigate and potentially prosecute Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison under federal law. This isn't just political grandstanding. The U.S. Attorney's Office itself has said that up to $9 billion was stolen. That's the scale, and that is a direct insult to every hardworking family that pays taxes in this country. But what's truly infuriating is the reaction from those in the hot seat. Instead of owning up to their failures or even admitting the scope of the problem, they deflect, they gaslight, and they try to blame anyone but themselves, including the very people in their own agencies who try to stop the fraud. Attorney General Ellison, in particular, kept sidestepping the real questions. When pressed about his now infamous words, "Let's just go fight these people," referring to investigators trying to root out corruption in the Feeding Our Future scandal, he claimed he was just responding to supposed business owners struggling with bureaucracy. But we know from a record that he knew these so-called business people were fraudsters, and yet he tried to paint himself as the victim. That's classic political doublespeak. Say one thing for the cameras while protecting your friends behind closed doors. And what about the Congresswoman's pointed question about the role of race in investigating fraud? She asked, simply, is it racist to investigate someone for fraud just because they're of Somali descent? The answer, of course, should be a resounding no. But can you believe that in today's climate, we even have to ask that question? The Attorney General dodged and minimized, and that is unacceptable. Investigating crimes has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with justice, with the rule of law, and with protecting the public. Let's not forget, there are genuine, confirmed links between the scammers and people close to Attorney General Ellison's own family. His own son reportedly received donations from these same fraudsters. Imam Omar, one of the ringleaders, was even invited by Ellison personally and is listed as owner of an entity used to launder over $40 million. Are we supposed to just ignore these connections as coincidence? This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is documented on the record, right there in the public hearing. Why then were whistleblowers in the state bureaucracy so terrified to investigate these scammers? Simple. They knew they'd be fired, ruined, or at the very least smeared as racist or Islamophobic. That is the chilling effect of weaponized political correctness, and it's costing this country billions. What we're witnessing is the collapse of accountability and the rise of a new double standard. If you're connected, if you're part of the progressive political machine, you seem to get a free pass, no matter how outlandish the crime. But if you're a regular citizen calling this out for the fraud it is, you risk everything: your job, your reputation, even your personal safety. The Congresswoman in this hearing did what every American should expect from their representatives. She pressed for the truth. She refused to let the politicians wriggle out of responsibility, and she made it clear that the American people are watching. Despite personal attacks and repeated interruptions, she kept her focus on the facts, on the money stolen and the cover-up that followed. So what's the big takeaway? It's this: our government is being run by people who refuse to take responsibility for historic levels of corruption. Instead of fostering a culture of honesty and transparency, our leaders use identity politics as a shield and silence those who dare to speak out. This isn't party politics. This is about defending our republic, safeguarding taxpayer dollars, and restoring trust in our institutions. It's time we demand real answers and actual accountability. Start by contacting your representatives, getting involved at the local level, and demanding that every dollar gets tracked and every corrupt official gets prosecuted, no matter their party or background. Otherwise, these scams will keep happening and the ruling elite will keep getting away with it. Thanks for watching today's report from Freedom Forge. If you believe in free speech, real accountability, and America's future, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends. We need more voices willing to challenge the narrative and fight for the truth. This story isn't ending today. It's just beginning, and we'll be here to cover every development. This is Freedom Forge, signing off. God bless you all, and God bless America.